There we go. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our October community meeting. Only 10 more weeks of shopping until Christmas, so make sure you're getting out there now. My name is Chris Schmidt, and I'm the board chair for Ohio City Incorporated. Joined here tonight by several members of our board and staff over here on the turntables, Katie and Brandon. Tonight you're going to hear from three of our staff members, Whitney and Ben and Carrie Palma, who's up here in the front. She moved. Board members here include Gigi and Nia and Helen, and plenty of block club leaders as well. So make sure you stick around a little bit after to introduce yourselves. Oh, and Brian. I missed Brian. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Brian was eating, and I got distracted. So, all right. So, and Brian's here as well. So, tonight we have several things on the agenda. A lot of them are going to be updates from Ohio City Incorporated. Including Near West Rec updates from Carrie Palma up here in the front, a Lakeview Connects project update from Whitney following that, and then a SID renewal update from Mike Dostal, who's the board chair for OCIC, as well as Ben Trimble from our staff. And then we have Denver Booker from VOCON here to talk to us about 2828 Clinton, which is the vibrator lot if you're trying to figure out where it's at in the neighborhood. So, okay. So, and then closing remarks. I will think of something witty to say in the next 45 minutes. All right, events coming up that you should have on your calendar. Our neighborhood fall walk is going to be on the 27th, which is next Friday. It's a really fun event that goes from Fairview Park to over to the library, at St. Pat's in the middle, over to Ignatius. Lots of things going on, so check out the website for lots of details about that and ways to, the flyer in the back, flyer at Lisa's table out there on the side, so please check that out. Other things going on. Our next community meeting is the last one of the year on November 14th, so a month from now, the last one of the year back here, correct? Oh no, that's right, that one's going to move because it will be a update on, oh fine, where we're going to be then. We don't know where we're going to be, so we will let you know. Put a pin in it, but November 14th. Sorry, I got things confused. Thursday, November 16th, we're going to be halfway to the Ohio City Open, which is the putt-putt event we did last year that we're going to do again this year with great success. West Bank Golf Club, which is down in the Flats, has offered to host us for a great fundraiser. More details to follow, but save the date for 6 to 9 or so, family-friendly event to join us for that. Lakeview Connects public meeting. I'll let Whitney talk more about that. Will be on Thursday, November 30th. Nutcracker event at the library. So please, if you didn't do that last year, it's a lot of fun. We had 50 or 60 kids last year, and it's just a really great thing for the community to get involved in. So come check that out. Ohio City Family Party on the 9th, and then Near West Rec Casino Night all the way out to February 10th. But that's a great way for us to raise money for Near West Rec, and Carrie's going to give you all of the stats about that here in just a second. So I'll stick around after the meeting, too, if you have any questions about OCI. But beyond that, Carrie, your show.
Good evening. So yeah, I'm Carrie Palma. I know many of you guys, but just giving you a quick update on Near West Rec. So my big thing for you guys, if you don't know what Near West Rec is, we basically are a year-round youth rec league. We don't just serve Ohio City. We serve Tremont, Detroit Sherway, Cadell, Edgewater, Clarksville, and Brooklyn Center. So it's a whole Near West Side league. We take kids that go to school here, that live here. It's affordable league for all families of all backgrounds and stuff. But the big thing is we are currently wrapping up soccer. That was our largest league on record. Over 400 kids are playing soccer. So there's definitely a need for there's definitely a need for recreation in our city, and I'm glad we're serving that gap. We got volleyball underway. Our next sport is basketball. So if you have families or know people that have kids looking for basketball, we'll be putting that up on our website. The big thing is how you can get involved. Number one, outreach. Let families know. Let your neighbor know. We're welcome, open inviting to families. Come sign up, come play. We'll figure out everything else for you guys. Our biggest need outside of money is coaches. So if you got any interest in coaching, know people that have an interest in coaching, do not need a coach. If you generally know the game, whatever sport it is, have some availability, we'll figure out where to put you. We provide the uniforms, we provide equipment, we try to work with your schedule. It's for a coaching volunteer job, it's a pretty low entry commitment. You know, it's once a week practice, game on Saturday, typical 3 hours a week maybe. And we try to work with what your availability is each weeknight. So coaching is a big one. So if you can help with that, yeah. Katie is our first time coach for soccer, and she coaches 4 and 5 year olds. So so we got little to teenagers. So if you don't like the little ones, we got 12-year-olds that you can boss around. Our other thing is event volunteers. So like Chris mentioned, we have casino night coming up on February 10th. Need help at just sign-ins at the bar. Again, a one-night event. It's nice to have people in the community that support us just by giving their time. So, and if you can't volunteer, maybe you can come out to casino night. It's this will be our 3rd year. Our first one was March 2020 before everything shut down, and then we had to slow it down and brought it back last year. So it's a great way. Ticket includes all you can eat, drink, and then you kind of play casino games, and your money that you win goes to raffle prizes. So that's how we raise our money. And then the next one is donate. We have a financial assistance fund. Like I said, our league is affordable. Not everyone can even pay the $30, $40 registration fee. So we have a champions fund that is basically offsets their cost. So that's on our website. You can donate right now, $20, $50, whatever you want. And then we also do small business sponsorships. If you got older equipment, that's kind of nice. Maybe it's cleats, shin guards, baseballs, bats, any of that kind of stuff, just contact me. We'll find a way to get it to a kid or use it for our league. So variety of ways to get involved. My biggest thing is just letting people know about us. So again, you got a new neighbor, you got someone you work with that needs their kid to get involved in something, let them know. We got flyers out front that talks about this stuff, but yeah, we have our website. You can Google us pretty easy. Yeah, and there's the casino night details. We'll have more of that coming out on the website and newsletter, so you'll hear more about that in the next few months. And then Chris kind of jumped some of my other stuff is outside of Near West Rec. I do a lot of the family things, so just reminding people of some upcoming family events. Again, Chris mentioned the Family Fall Walk. That takes place next Friday. It's right after school. Let your kids, neighbors know. It's a nice little walk throughout the neighborhood. Trunk or treat, pumpkins, mask making, candy, food. It's a good way to fill up the neighborhood with kids and activity. And then the Nutcracker event at Carnegie West. This is one of the events we help sponsor. And then the family holiday party. Again, it's kind of like the Family Fall Walk. It's at Malachi Center, but it's games, Santa, we give gifts away. Looking for volunteers, so not sure what the time's going to be, maybe a 12 to 2, 1 to 3, but looking for support there. Volunteers is the main thing, but again, if you've got families that want to do something fun, see Santa, play games, that's it. So that's all my updates. If you have questions, I'm here. All right.
We don't need no stinking microphone. I'll project. This is a much smaller room.
This one right here?
No, I that's why I have the microphone. Yeah, on that second slide, it says dance art. So this Nutcracker event, I'm hoping, praying, and you're going to say the right word, is going to be excerpts of parts of that ballet, or is it just the music and the costumes?
I'm not quite sure. I know they do like they bring the dancers in the library and do the performances, and there's food and stuff. But
okay, so
yeah, so it's not like the full-on Nutcracker.
No, I'm not looking. Yeah. But there's some excellent parts of that. I'm just saying, will the dancers be performing?
There will be dancers there. Yeah.
And they will be performing.
They will be doing some kind of.
That's all I need to know. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, yeah, no thanks. Yeah, It was good seeing you guys, and hopefully just spread the word about New West Rec, and I'll see many of you around.
Right. Hello, everybody. Thanks, Al. Is this fun? Will that stay like that? Okay. All righty. So, Whitney Long Jones, Director of Community Engagement for Ohio City, Inc. So, Lakeview Connects, just to give a little bit of background on what that is, just some of you may have heard of it. So this may be new for some of you. It's an umbrella term for multiple projects combined into one. So this includes a small area plan, which we've hired OHM Advisors. They're a planning and engineering company to kind of look at the area around Lakeview, which is CMHA housing property at the northern side of Ohio City, just past Detroit down West 25th Street. So one other aspect is CMHA is doing a master planning process. That's one component. And while they're going to be tearing down those buildings, they've been doing a lot of engagement around it, and it's going to be a 10-year program or so, is estimated, or project, not program. And we kind of were wondering, okay, so we're taking down the buildings, rebuilding them. That's great. What else in the area is going on so that we can help to improve quality of life for residents in that area? So this is where we did what we're calling a small area plan to look at mobility surrounding Lakeview, with the overarching theme being connectivity. How are we working with the government entities, ODOT, City of Cleveland, to make sure that sidewalks and planning infrastructure is also conducive to the new housing that's going to be put into the area. Let's Clear the Air is another aspect of the Lakeview Connects program, and air quality has been an issue around Lakeview for multiple decades at this point, maybe since the 60s. So what we're doing to address that poor air quality in the area. We have air quality monitors down on CMHA's property, and we're planning to collect data from those monitors to be able to present to City of Cleveland to change legislation. We're in conversation with the industries in the area, and bringing everyone to the table has given us all the opportunity to level the playing field and work together as a collaborative to address the poor air quality. So that's been an ongoing process for the last 2 years. We probably won't have or see any thing come of that just yet until we get the data for another 2 years and then begin the conversations with City of Cleveland. So throughout this entire process, OHM is also advising CMHA for their master planning and also doing the engagement for that process as well. So here's what you're looking at are pictures of some of the activities and things we've done with people to get feedback on what they feel about the master planning, what type of property they'd like to see, how air quality affects them on a regular basis, and really just making sure we're having the conversation and spreading the word as widely with all Lakeview residents as possible. So this map really talks about the Lakeview area and then also the surrounding Lakeview area. So when we're thinking connectivity, again, we're thinking trails, we're thinking rerouting truck traffic from the industries that also add to the pollution, the bad pollution in the area, and sidewalks, just everything you can think of. We want to make sure we're addressing all of it. So here are some of the suggestions that OHM has put together based on feedback from residents. And if you can't see this map, or even I'm not the best map reader, right, I'm looking at your face right now. I'm not a planner. And the good thing is we have a meeting coming up, as Chris was mentioning earlier, on November 30th for the planners and Nate, who is on the planner on the OCI team, to talk a little bit more about this in detail. So you'll get information on where we are as far as all of the data that has been put into a plan and feedback we've gotten from residents. And so save the date. Next meeting is Thursday, November 30th. So we'd love for all of you to come and ask questions, share thoughts on that date. So be on the lookout for that. We'll make sure that information gets to as many people as possible through our newsletter, on social media. We'll present on this again, or at least remind folks at the next community meeting. So I'm going to switch it up just really quickly, and I'm going to throw one thing that's not on the agenda in here. So we have recently hired a community engagement and equity fellow named Tila Patterson. No relation to Jeff Patterson, the CEO of CMHA, just in case anybody's wondering. That was a thought of ours, because we don't want to do the nepotism thing or play favorites. So she's going to be handling something brand new that we're working on called our Neighborhood Watch program, and she's going to be supporting the Let's Clear the Air Lakeview Air Quality Initiative and also Irishtown Bend Park engagement process. So her role is really just working with me to continue engaging folks around all of these initiatives and whatever concerns in the neighborhood that can be addressed through OCI. So I want to touch really quickly on our Neighborhood Watch program. There was a grant from the Cleveland Community Police Commission that went out this past summer that was due at the end of July, so we submitted for it. You could have applied for up to $50,000 to do violence prevention. So we thought Ohio City Community Building and Neighborhood Watch program could be something that we could put in place after hearing tons of residents, tons of stakeholders, business owners, staff, complain about the violence and the car break-ins in the neighborhood. So a few of our goals here are to reduce crime and improve safety, bringing residents together to talk about what's happening in the community, empowering a resident-led neighborhood watch committee, and this is going to come back up, folks, so remember goal 2, please. Making meaningful connections with law enforcement in the neighborhood, so that would include Cleveland Police, CMHA Police, Greater Cleveland Regional RTA Police, and we actually added a couple to this list a few days ago. So CMSD Police, and also, who's the other one? CMSD, I got that one. CMSD Police. Was it the Cleveland Clinic Police, because Lutheran Hospital's in the neighborhood. Right. So this one is really, number 4 is really important. So providing sensitivity and trauma-informed care trainings, I see a word missing there, for our committee members and community stakeholders. Just getting everyone on the same page about what safety really means, what resources are out there if you if you see someone walking, this is an example, see someone walking up the street talking to themselves and they're not posing an immediate threat to themselves or anyone else, is there someone else to call outside of the police? Instead of getting someone arrested for a mental health disorder, maybe we can divert that attention to a social service agency in the neighborhood. So sensitivity training, also addressing our implicit biases and not judging someone based on what we think we know about criminal activity, suspicious activity. So just, for instance, understanding the difference between suspicious people and suspicious activity. So it's instinctual for us to judge someone for our own safety. Getting on the same page on what those judgments really should be will help us make better choices and eliminating the need to call 911 in a non-life-threatening situation. And then 5, just developing a sustainable model to share with other neighborhoods who are also facing similar crime and safety concerns. So the next steps for this is developing the plan. So we understand that there have been some crime safety programs in the past. We would love your input on whether they were successful or, do they still exist, or what areas could be improved upon. So we're looking for folks to be a part of a neighborhood watch committee. And we would love for anyone who is here today would be willing to give their time and energy to join our community engagement committee meetings, which take place every 4th Wednesday at 6 o'clock. So the next one is October 25th Please let me know if you are interested in joining, or if you're interested but aren't able to make the meetings, we can still take your name and information and send you all the updates and information that comes from those meetings. So I don't have a question section on here, but I can take one or two if somebody has one. All right, I guess I gave enough info. Thanks.
Good evening, everybody. Good to see you. A few familiar faces, but most of you probably don't know me. But I've been certainly engaged and invested in this neighborhood since like 1992. And along with my partner Jim Hayes, we developed and owned the former Bender Hotel building at Market Avenue by the park in 1998. I think finished that in 99, and have been, knock on wood, pretty much full every day since, and continue to have longtime tenants like the coffee shop and the wine bar and the supermarket operation. So I'm also chair currently. I've been on the board for maybe 5 or 6 years of the Special Improvement District, and the last, I think, 3 now years I've been the chair of the Ohio City Special Improvement District. And for those that don't know that, you can jump a slide or two, but oh, good. Okay, great. So for those that don't know, a Special Improvement District is a defined area by legislation, state of Ohio legislation, but it's in probably 40 states, similar type of legislation, which allows commercial or property owners, both residential and commercial, in our case it's a commercial property owners, to basically petition their fellow owners in a defined area and basically assess themselves additional assessments, which are basically collected and have the same impact as taxes. So they are truly a defined obligation behind taxes and really ahead of your mortgage for those property owners. But they're basically saying, listen, we got challenges, we want to provide more services, we want to enhance our commercial corridors. So it's where the property owners step up and say, we're going to help pay for that, rather than kind of wait and pass the hat or keep pounding the door at 601 Lakeside. So, so with that in mind, we've created that original SID, what, 10 years ago, roughly? Excuse me? Yeah, about 10 years ago. A number of folks were involved with us, helping us set that up. We had tried, frankly, 12, 15 years ago. I think it was the 3rd or 4th try conceptually, not to go out to petition, but the idea. We surfaced it, couldn't get a momentum, a couple more times since. Then we finally got, with a lot of energy, we were able to really put together the pieces and parts, because there are certain requirements that you have to meet to satisfy the legislation, both the local as well as state legislation. And we it got approved by a 75–80% majority 10 years ago. 5 years ago, it's a 5-year running approval, so you have to go back every 5 years. So we went out again approximately 5 years ago, an expanded SID, which took it beyond kind of our traditional Market and 25th and down a bit, not too far down Lorraine Avenue originally. We expanded it all the way down, obviously, to include and just passed here with the UCS, and then we also took it further to Detroit, and then turned the corner, and then went down past the Hinge Down section and picked up commercial properties there. So basically took our budget from about $350,000 to about $550,000, spread that cost out based on a defined allocation to property owners, and since then we funded a number of programs. Our largest line item and our biggest focus is the Ohio City Ambassador Program, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, the great red shirts, led by Don Hughes. They have been very impactful. They've been certainly a big part of our public presence and, frankly, impacting, we hope, the community in a lot of important ways. One is the clean They're clean and safe ambassadors, so there's actually different people under the ambassador program. The clean ambassadors, if you will, they don't just take a shower every day. They're actually they're in charge. They're charged with actually helping to keep the neighborhood clean. So they're about the business of with the rolling canisters. They pick up debris. They remove graffiti. They respond to any kind of items that really would create kind of neglect in the commercial corridors of the neighborhood, which again are Lorraine, 25th, and Detroit primarily. We also have safe ambassadors under that program, and they're specially trained to have additional skills to help folks that maybe are in need. Maybe there's a community, there's a aggressive panhandling going on, and we try to help interface and identify resources for those folks, including the homeless. And then also just being eyes and ears of things that are happening in the neighborhood, so that they can communicate to CMHA police, second district, et cetera. So it's an important program, and again, as I said before, it is our largest component of our budget. We also provide additional services. They've certainly been impactful. If you don't get their newsletters, you should try to ask to be on the mailing list, but they track how much garbage they pick up, how many graffiti cleanups they have, how many times they've helped folks get into their locked cars in the commercial corridors, helping walk people back late at night after leaving a tavern, going back to their car. We offer that kind of security service. So it's really multifaceted. They're good people, they're well trained, and they really are committed. Another key component is our snow removal program along the commercial corridors. That is, we engage a third party for that service. It's just like, being a mayor of a city. Nobody appreciates it until you do it, and then if you don't get out there the moment the snow hits the ground, everybody's complaining. But I think our team and our vendors have done a good job. I mean, obviously, the last few years we haven't had a lot of consistent snowfall throughout the year, but certainly in 2021 we had two nearly historic snowfalls. If you remember, I think an 18-incher and a 15-incher within a month. The first one was on Martin Luther King Day, and I think the other one was a month later. So those are extraordinary circumstances, but I think I still would give our team good marks on that, because we really were up against it in terms of kind of getting to the site, to the sidewalks, let alone clearing them. But that's an important part of what we do. As part of that relationship with that landscaping service company, we also are involved with plantings, the plantings on Market Square Park, in the Franklin Circle area, and then in 25th Street, some of those city beds. So we do a spring planting program in May on Market Square and 25th with perennials. In fact, we even hustled out and went out to Buyers Outlet and bought some annuals for the temporary bollards there on Market Avenue when it was closed after Labor Day. Which we, as I said, that we call that broadly the Public Realm and Beautification Program. We're really going to step up our efforts in that, I think, going forward for the park and elsewhere. So we're in the process now of going out for our new renewal. The way it works with City Hall, you're effectively going out for your petition a year ahead of the expiration of your current authority. So currently we have authority to run the said program through 24, and we continue to collect taxes because, again, remember, taxes are collected a year in arrears. But we need to gain approval and go into City Hall shortly after the first of the year with our signed petitions, so that then we can take the steps through City Hall. I won't bore you with the details, but we can take our steps into the spring, and then for final approval in the summer of 24, and then the assessments would be set up in the fall so that we'd be collecting taxes to support the program in 2025. We're evaluating how the program, we won't see a lot of change to the program geographically, because we don't want to be stretched too thin with our services, but we are contemplating, at the very least, extending the program on 25th Street south of Lorraine. Currently, it stops at Chatham, but we certainly have, we're engaging the Marins, MRN, and their block there with the Voss Industries real estate to extend it all the way to Monroe, and then pick up on the east side of the street and to pick up that triangle by Gehring behind the intro. There are a few other tweaks that we've looked at. We're not sure we'll go that route because I think coming out of COVID, a lot of the business owners who often are also merchants, you know, think of Market Garden Brewery, they own their building, but they also run businesses. And a lot of these folks, you know, are coming out of a COVID and a challenging year, and 22 is the first kind of semi-normal year. So what we don't want to do is kind of jack up, is go out to them for approval on a higher petition or assessment than they had previously. So that process is underway. We anticipate finalizing our budget for the next 5 years sometime in the next couple of weeks, having a community meeting for the property owners so they can ask questions about the upcoming SID petition process. And then in the month of December, we'll be going out to owners for approval, and hopefully in a few weeks' time, before the holiday, certainly, we'll hit comfortably, you know, a 70-75% level, and then proceed. We're hoping to get 80 or 90. Who knows? So we have a board that's duly elected. We have an annual meeting in March, April of every year. We have board members' terms that are kind of staggered, so multiple folks every year are up for election. The entire SID body, if you will, of owners are invited to that, and they're eligible to vote. So the board it certainly represents what I like. It really represents institutions sitting on a board like Urban Community School in St. Ignatius, as well as major property owners like Intro or the Snaveleys on Detroit, as well as folks who are property owners but also merchants and own property. So it's a good, diverse representation of the geography and the nature of our property owners. So with that, I'll pause and see if there's any questions that you might have. I know you folks, most of you live in the neighborhood and may not be necessarily constituents or stakeholders in the SID, but certainly you all participate and enjoy the business community, and you know, we're all about trying to make it a safer, cleaner, and more effective commercial district.
Are business owners forced to be a part of this, or can they opt out of being a part of it?
They can't opt out. It is.
They can or cannot?
Private nonprofit institutions have the ability to opt in, but they're not required to. But private, but yeah, again, that's nonprofits, public institutions, say like the West Side Market, or you know, St. Ignatius or something. But they oftentimes have opted in to the program. But commercial property owners, if it's approved, and that's why I think the threshold is 60%. We require at least a minimum of 70, and typically we're closer to 80. But it's everybody, because everybody benefits, and we really focus on that. We want to, whether it's the ambassador program or the snow plowing program, everybody is serviced, and their frontages that affect their commercial properties in that corridor get the same level of service in terms of the programs.
Other questions for Mike?
Okay, great.
Seeing none. Mike, thank you so much.
Thanks so
and
much.
we'll
Appreciate
he'll
your
be
time.
around after the meeting if you have other questions.
Okay. Great.
All right. We have one more presentation this evening. Denver Booker from BoCon is here to talk to us about the 2828 Clinton, which is, again, is the vibrator lot project over on Clinton Avenue. So, Denver, all you.
Good. Hello, everyone. All right. Good evening. I'm here on behalf of TurnDev, the developer for this project. My name is Denver Brooker. I'm with BoCon, the architect for the project. So 2828 Clinton is a block just south of Church and State. So it's one block south of Detroit, between Church to the north, Clinton to the south, and between 28th and 29th, east to west. And here we can see it here in this oversight. The blue dashed line represents the parameters of the project. And in the upper left corner of that block, there's the existing fire station that has a coffee shop and other businesses in it. And in the lower right corner, the notch out of that corner, There's Banana Blossom Thai Restaurant and Malachi House. This is kind of a big picture overview of the project. It is a single new multifamily residential development with 212 units and 223 integrated parking spaces that are all in a garage hidden from the street. We've developed it to appear as two independent buildings, even though they're interconnected by the basement and first floor parking with an amenities terrace, but from the street it'll appear as two buildings, and they have distinct character that you'll see in the renderings. A little closer in terms of the plan to see how the existing buildings take notches out of this block, and what we've done in terms of some of the key setbacks related to the development. This is just a kind of a small snippet of each of the buildings with what we've called the Clinton House, the southern building on Clinton. Its palette being a little warmer, a lot more brick, traditionally influenced. And then on the right, the north building that we've called Hanover House, a little more modern, a little taller. Clinton House is 5 stories, Hanover is 6. So we're working to really bridge what we see this as a transitional site with Church and State, a very much taller building to the north. And as you move to the southwest, you're moving from a multifamily area to a single family residential area. So you'll see how we've tried to work with that character through a series of street level renderings. This is, if you're familiar with Church and State, and if you're walking between the two parts of the building south in that pedestrian walkway, we're facing the entrance to this new development. So it's purposefully framed in an extension of the pedestrian pathways that are already in place in the neighborhood. And then you see the firehouse to the right, and where we're opening up some space between our building and that, and creating a new landscaped area around the firehouse, giving it a little bit of presence and deference. And the firehouse to the right. And then this building, you see a palette of metal panels in that slate blue gray. The whiter material is a brick, and then with some accents of synthetic wood there at the porch and at the balconies above the entrance. The base of the site, the entire way around on all the streets, except for the parking garage entrances, we have ground floor units, and each of the entrances are a little bit different. The ones at Hanover House, which you're seeing right now, take on this character, but the ground floor units are stepped up a little bit, so they have their own entrance stoop. Again, really working to make this an addition to a very pedestrian-oriented environment and a very residential environment. Now we're standing back on Church, looking west, Church and State to the right, a new building to the left. And then we're back down at street level there at the corner of Church and 28th. And again, you can see how these ground floor entrances wrap around the corner, even onto 28th. And then we're changing buildings. This is Clinton House. We're at the corner of Clinton and West 29th. See a completely different character here. Our cues were to, one, be a little bit more historic, use of brick, punched windows, regular spacing, and then a vertical modulation of the facades, kind of like a townhouse. And each of those townhouse elements with a ground floor unit with its own entrance stoop for those lower level units. This is on Clinton, looking west. Malachi House is immediately to the right here. And this is a point where I'll point out that the development team worked closely with Malachi House as we built this, we're looking to build this building. Malachi House had some needs for a accessible ramped entrance to their first floor, which they didn't have. They also don't have any really viable outdoor space. So we've pulled our building back to the north and to the west enough to create an outdoor space and a ramp to the first floor. And so that'll be, that piece of land will be exclusively for Malachi House. This is, we're on West 29th with Firehouse to the left, Clinton House to the right. Again, you'll see some setbacks at the fourth floor here with some rooftop terraces. A lot of the more intricate setbacks in this building is done as a way to play to the existing buildings that are immediately either across or next to this building. And then at street level, a little different character with these entrances. All of them just a little bit different depending on where you are around the building. And another one, this one is on Clinton at the corner of 29th. Where we are. Happy to answer any questions about that.
So will traffic be entering the parking facility from Clinton or from 28th Street?
There are two entrances to the parking garage. There's one on 28th, which serves the and the one on Clinton that was in, I'll go back a view. This one that we're seeing in the lower right of the new building did consider that at length, and they looked at, there's some vacancies in some of the other developments in the area, and they decided pickup time, they're always inside.
And then they'll move them out the night before and then move them back in the next day.
So they yes, or but usually with developments like this, the pickups are very much scheduled. They're not like them out there.
To an apartment complex, it's going to get a lot more traffic on that street. There aren't stop signs at either end of that they want to be creating to let the traffic onto 28th Street.
Traffic as far to the east as possible to minimize water and